So we have a packed agenda today. We're going to get started, and I know lots of folks are going to join us along the way here. So I just want to say welcome to ArtPride New Jersey's 2022 annual membership meeting. Right off the bat, I will say that closed captioning is available if you use the button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll also mention that in the chat. It's available through Google's live caption. So please use that. I want to introduce myself. I'm Adam Pearl. I'm president and CEO of ArtPride New Jersey. I'm a 40-something white male with dark brown hair and hazel eyes. I'm in a blue checkered shirt today, and I'm sitting in front of a beige wall with a white door behind me. And I'm in Bridgewater, New Jersey, home of the Lenape, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. We're just going to get started with some general housekeeping. If you're interested in connecting and networking with other folks that are attending today, ArtPride members and friends and guests, please put your name and your organization, and if you want, your contact information in the chat, and we'll share that information along with lots of links and resources that we're going to mention today throughout the meeting in a follow-up email that we'll send either later today or tomorrow. If you do have questions along the way for myself, for any of our speakers, our keynote, you're going to hear from lots of the ArtPride staff. Please use the Q&A feature, and we will do our best to answer all those questions either in the feature or live in the webinar. And then we also encourage you to keep an eye on the chat, not just to see who else is there, but also we will stick some links in there along the way. Lastly, as always, we record our webinars. We'll be recording this annual meeting, and we will post it to our website. We will include a link in it in that follow-up email. So if you miss something or you want to go back and watch part of the webinar or share it with a colleague or a friend, you're absolutely able to do that. So we're going to jump right in. And to start, I want to introduce Allison Lorena, who is chair of ArtPride's Board of Trustees and president and CEO at Mayo Performing Arts Center. Thanks for being with us today, Allison.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here this morning with so many members and friends. As Adam said, I'm Allison Lorena, president and CEO of the Mayo Performing Arts Center and chair of the ArtPride Board of Trustees. I'm a white woman with brown hair and brown eyes. I'm in a pink colored shirt with a black jacket, and I'm sitting in my office in Morristown, New Jersey, originally settled by the Lenni Lenape. My pronouns are she and her. We begin today with a land acknowledgement. I'd like to thank Cliff Matthias, director of the Red Hawk Native American Arts Council and new trustee on the ArtPride Board of Trustees. Thank you, Cliff, for being here and sharing your time and insight with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be in the company of all my ArtPride colleagues. It's an honor to be able to do this land acknowledgement and come to you from the home of the Raritan Lenape here in Middlesex County. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am wearing a gray shirt and have a piece of Navajo turquoise on, and I'm sitting here in my office in Middlesex County. We always want to be mindful of the original keepers of the land, the caretakers of the land. I speak on behalf of Chief Perry of the Ramapo Lenape, and we always want to be thankful to be able to gather in this good way, but also be mindful that this land is the original homeland of the Lenape, and we are hopeful that we walk on this land in honor and respect of the original caretakers, the Lenape, and be mindful that there are indigenous people still here, Lenape people still here in the state of New Jersey, the Ramapo Lenape and the Nanticoke Lenape in southern New Jersey, and so always being mindful of that. So I wish everyone a wonderful day as we sit here and as artists and organizers or administrators of art organizations and we can come together and get some answers and some ideas for the future of keeping art, tradition, and culture moving forward here in New Jersey. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to stand before you today. And I'm going to pass it over to Adam. And
Cliff. We appreciate you, as always, for dedicating your time and wisdom.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, and today is the first day of Native American Heritage Month, so it is like my absolutely insane month, as everybody wants to have a Native person doing a program today. So I thank you for allowing me today on the first day of Native American Heritage Month to kick it off with you. So, and kick it off with my colleagues here at ArtPride. Such an honor.
I know you're running. Safe travels.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.
So now it's my pleasure to introduce our first performer, Susan Justiniano, known professionally as Rescue Poetics. Susan is a self-taught, bilingual, globally published performing poet, advocate, spoken word artist, recording artist, and teaching artist. Her passion for words started at age 9 with a dictionary, notebook, and the latest paperback she could get her hands on. In 2006, Rescue Poetics emerged as a professional artist entrepreneur. And as a published performing poet, she has recorded poems to music in English and Spanish, and is deeply immersed in the arts communities throughout New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, and is developing a body of work that focuses on rich linguistic poetry. Susan is twice honored as Poet Laureate, first Puerto Rican woman Poet Laureate of Jersey City from 2020 to 2022, and currently the State of New Jersey Beat Poet Laureate, which she'll be carrying that title through next year. Rescue Poetics poetry is motivational, uplifting, and empowering, designed to connect on a level far deeper than what the eye could perceive, spinning verses in Spanish and English. Her words weave stories of strength, growth, experience, and love in its many evolving forms. And as an arts advocate, Susan serves on many boards and committees throughout the entire country, particularly with a focus on equity and equality in the arts. And we are so thrilled and proud that Susan is part of ArtPride's Independent Advisory Committee, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the program. So Susan, thank you for performing your work for today. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you very much, Adam, for that beautiful introduction. I'm Susan Justiniano, Rescue Poetics. I am a light-skinned Latina with short red hair and brown eyes. I'm currently wearing a Black collared shirt, and I'm sitting in front of an original piece of art that I was fortunate enough to get from a local artist. My pronouns are she, her, ella, ellas. I am currently in the land of the Lenape people in Jersey City, New Jersey, and it is an honor and a privilege to be here. Daytime dreaming, moments of splendor, the feeling that anything is possible, flashes that last forever. Simple ideas turn complex, built on the notion of existence, lifted up into galaxies, twinkling of stars gone nova, touching darkest corners, expanding beyond themselves, lit by notions of existence. Clouds of ideas, heavy with whispers, breeze shifting perceptions, moments of change in the air, aware and present. Sweeping through moment to moment, carrying dreams in their wake, past the broken things, shades of ruminations, escaping in sighs, unlocking what binds us. Daytime dreaming, where everything is possible. Nothing is out of place. The unreal becomes reality in the freedom of daytime dreaming. Filling insecurities with possibilities, replacing doubt with action, moving at the pace of clouds and dreams, moments of splendor, the feeling that anything is possible. They come on their own, fluid and sweet, so real the clouds sift through my fingers. Anything is possible. Daytime dreaming. Everything is possible. Thank you. That particular piece is called Daytime Dreaming, and I thought it was a great way to kick off the morning, to understand that where we are and how we are, that anything and everything is possible. And this takes me into our next one. Each day we take a chance to know one another. Bonds created not in a moment, a lifetime. Not any one thing will lead me, move me to you, nor do I want it to be. I want to see all of it. Stillness of your thoughts, joy in your heart, the parts that make you whole, where I fit in that puzzle. To complement you as you complement me. Mountains climbed with the help of each other, to build what the heavens inspire to, share the love bestowed. Some will understand, others are not ready. Each day we take a chance to know the world around us, walk the easy paths, help others through the difficult ones. In my hand is not power, but the ability to share your strength, give way to clearings and fields of light, take in the next bend in life. When we tell our stories, we share ourselves with the understanding that our ancestors shared their stories to give us an insight to who we are. There are no accidents, no chance meetings. We are guided in this life to see and be among those who will take us to the next, to where our struggles ease. Every day we take a chance to fill ourselves with the strength to give of ourselves to others. You are my gift on this earth. Through your eyes, I will see the wonders set before me. In your voice, the timbre of wisdom. Each act, a piece of the greater puzzle that was begun long ago, makes all things possible. A cascade of water. Through each of our lives, growing as it flows from one to another, to another, to another, giving strength to each drop. Each day, we take a chance. How welcoming it all is. Thank you. That particular piece speaks to the connections that we're making here and the connections we make through our life, and how that impacts us and how we impact others as well. So for my closing piece, this one is called Living Begins with Breathe. Your essence breathes, gives life to abstract ideas, strength to limbs and heart, grows into an encompassing inhaling of a world that once held limits, released from the chains of no, let loose to ravage the darkness, living for all its trials and traps, always finds a way to give back. Taking the breath exhaled, exchanged for the one inhaled, pushing forth the air that when done with, will give life to another. Waste not the moments from which they come, these short breaths, for it is but a moment. Give instead the breathless gratitude of your lungs as you release the breath for which you no longer use. While some read the poetry of these letters, breathe, knowing that life soon follows. The path of the unknown is easier to see when all around are those who breathe their own poetry into their own lives. Let there not be judgment of living of whose breath is stronger. Each breath is a show of strength, no matter from where it comes or how shallow the rise and fall. Each breath synonymous with living. Each breath a work of art given from a unique body, poetry of its own. Each poetic release of a body is a step toward reaching what you need, not to exist, but to live beyond the exhaling. Living begins with breathe, not breath. Breathe. Inhale. Give life to ideas that otherwise could not flourish, ideology to once stunted stale earth. Exhale. Expel that which you no longer need or can use. Give to another. Breathe to share life. Living begins with breathe. Thank you, everyone. That one was Living Begins with Breathe. And I have the honor now of turning it over to Allison.
What an honor for us, Susan. Thank you so much. Wow. That was so beautiful and inspirational. Thank you. And thank you all for attending today and for your support of Art Pride. It is because of you and your support that we have so successfully fought for the survival of New Jersey's arts and culture community. Through impactful advocacy, innovative marketing, and valuable programs and services, Art Pride has served our community at the height of the pandemic and through the return to in-person experiences.
So as we navigate this long road to recovery, you can expect Art Pride to continue to be the voice from the mountaintop, extolling the value of the arts to New Jersey. And this next year is going to be critical to New Jersey's arts and cultural community. And we're going to hear a lot about that in these next few updates. We're going to learn some more about how Art Pride is shepherding important legislation. We're going to hear more about the launch of the Next Generation Discover Jersey Arts website, which is coming with a complete rebrand. You'll hear about Art Pride's organizational evolution, updates on our equity, diversity, inclusion, and social justice work, as well as the Independent Advisory Committee and our growing organizational membership. We're also going to hear from Senator Cory Booker, and we're going to unveil a brand new commissioned art piece from Atlantic City artist Kelly Brevard. But first, we're going to hear from our keynote speaker. And here to introduce our keynote speaker is the executive producer of today's event, Megan LeBeau, who is Art Pride's membership and development manager. Megan has done a wonderful job putting together today's event. So I'm going to throw it over to Megan.
Oh, thank you, Adam. Yes, I'm Megan LeBeau. I'm membership and development manager here at Art Pride. I am a 30-something white woman with blonde hair, blue eyes, and black frame glasses. I am in a black collared shirt and am sitting in front of a dark blue wall in Burlington, where the Lenape also reside. We talk a lot about connection at Art Pride. We connect people with arts across New Jersey. We connect advocates with information and legislators with pro-art policies. And of course, we connect with other artists and art professionals. So in true Art Pride form, I connected with our keynote, Kim Barrios-Lynn, through a connection. Kim is an actor, producer, writer, advocate, and mom of two little wildlings. You may have seen Kim in HBO Max's Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, which is a great binge if you're not ready for spooky season to end, or on Better Late Than Never on Disney+, FX's Pose, NBC's New Amsterdam, Fox's Almost Family, and The Politician on Netflix. Her acting passion projects include a love fest of a comedic series currently making a festival tour called Supermodel Twinning, playing Karula in Karula's Dream Show Live, a part scripted, part improv dream interpretation show, and performing in Stillbirth, a play about pregnancy loss. Kim is also the founder of the award-winning, socially conscious indie production company And She Flew. She's the co-founder of the social justice theater organization, Community of Colors. She is on the advisory committee for the Zach G. Applaud Our Kids Foundation, and she holds an MFA from the Actors Studio Drama School. She is an ensemble member of Barefoot Theater Company, the Labyrinth Theater Intensive Ensemble, Playful Substance, and Rock the Bells, a sketch comedy team that she performs and writes for. Kim, thank you so much for being here today. And everyone, Kim will also have some time to do some Q&A. So if you have any questions, kindly use the Q&A function to ask those. Kim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for that intro, Megan. As mentioned, my name is Kim Barrios-Lin. My pronouns are she, her. I am a Taiwanese and Puerto Rican with indigenous Taino lineage woman with black hair, wearing a black sweater. I'm sitting in front of a piece of art. And I would like to acknowledge that I am living, working, and raising my family in Union Township on the unceded land of the Lenape peoples, and also acknowledge the genocide and continued displacement of indigenous peoples during the colonial era and beyond. I'm really grateful to be with you all here today. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, let's see. Keynote and share. All right. So here is what I'll be sharing today. My very personal story of resilience, art as a mechanism of healing and connection. And to close, I'm going to cite the work of some fascinating thinkers in frontier science and the implications on the arts. So before I get started, I have a little surprise for you all. I'm going to spend the first portion of this talk with something I think will be a lot of fun for maybe everyone, but one person you know and love. So without further ado, and after a ton of investigative work done by me, I present to you the unofficial Comedy Central-esque roast of Adam Pearl. Adam, I hope you don't take too much offense to what I have in store, because here we go. I'm just kidding. That was my icebreaker. In my mind, this is what you all look like right now, since I can't see or hear you. So moving on to real business. I hope you'll join me in taking a calming breath, a breath in and a breath out. I am as I mentioned, I am a first generation American. My mother is one of 12 siblings from Puerto Rico, and my father is one of 10 siblings from Taiwan. As many first gens can relate, we are privy to what our parents faced to make it here. Hopefully some really beautiful stories about building the American dream. But the stories that really stick to my bones are those of struggle and cycles of trauma, amplified by the upward climb to not only acclimate, but to prove oneself worthy of respect and resources in a new country. After several revisions of this talk, I decided to leave out a lot of the more difficult to digest specifics of my parents' trauma that don't belong to me, as well as some of the specifics of the types of untreated trauma that were passed down to my brother and I. There's the temptation to blame our parents for our struggles, but I believe that's a trap. The act of blaming becomes a vehicle for the continuing of the trauma, because seeing the source of the trauma as a person, rather than the source being the passed down behavior, does not allow us to recognize said behavior and works towards, and it doesn't allow us to work towards breaking those chains. I also believe that it's not fair to be judged by our past lives. I believe we're reborn so many times within our one lifetime if we choose to grow. So my parents truly did the very best with what they had, just like I'm doing with my children, except I'm doing so within a way more privileged life than they had, and with the resources and acceptance to have sought out professional help. What I will say in a more general way is that my parents experienced incredible hardships, including culture shock, immense loss and grief, abuse, and frankly, a system that felt like it was working against them. The walls that my parents built for their survival kept them safe, but many remained indestructible. And there was a huge and understandable disconnect in their ability to empathize with my brother and my grievances, since ours would never, ever even come close to what my parents went through. But the truth is that even a diluted version of dysfunction is still dysfunction. My parents' form of resilience was providing a life for their children that they did not have. My mom always wanted to play an instrument, but her family didn't have the means. So she encouraged us to take any kind of lesson we showed interest in, even though my family could not afford them at first. My weeks were jam-packed with piano, dance, taekwondo, with dance competitions on some weekends. My parents also wanted us to excel in school. The transaction with them was that they would sacrifice to provide us with whatever tools we needed to succeed, and in return, we should export exceptional grades. I mean, all of that sounds okay to me on paper, right? But with the inability to communicate love in my household and unhealthy communication in general, matched with some really tough learned behaviors from previous generations, my brother and I faced anxieties that manifested for us in different ways. So what the aforementioned transaction translated to someone like me was perfectionism. My Pavlovian response to receive love in the form of praise was making sure that I was the very best at everything. They say 11 is when you decide who you are. I've always found that fascinating because 11 is when I became bulimic. Food culturally was a way of showing love from both sides of my family, and that was really tricky for me. My inner life at such a young age felt wild and scary, while my outer life felt way too structured. I had body dysmorphia from as far back as I can remember and was seeking some sort of control. I have a vivid memory of getting on a scale in kindergarten and it reading 40 pounds and then crying myself to sleep. Depression and an eating disorder can really cloud the way one recalls a childhood. It seems as though the darkest of memories are the easiest to access, which makes sense because the trauma is begging to be processed. I now intentionally sit myself down, get really quiet, and relive all of the laughter and tender moments that I had with my parents and my brother while growing up, and they really were so abundant. But interestingly, what I don't have to work hard to recall is that transcendent feeling that I always received from dancing as a child and eventually acting. It gave me hope in granting the ability to access the light within me that rivaled my darkness and made me feel like I was part of something way bigger than the cycle of pleasing, control, and shame I had created. To the world, I was a seemingly perfect but shy child, but inside I felt dark. I cried a lot in private in my favorite crying spot. I had a favorite crying spot between my closet doors, but I also cried while lyrical dancing, which felt different. I had such a connection to the collective suffering through those minor chords, to feel the music, the vulnerability and the intention of that musician to express their sadness through a particular key, or the writer who chose to share such a personal part of their lives through their lyrics are what made me feel less alone. The pain it allowed me to alchemize into music expression, into movement expression, then felt like a collective catharsis of musician, lyricist, little emotional dancer, and audience. When I decided to join the drama club in middle school, in tandem with beginning to act in commercials, I felt all the gears click. This wise inner knowing outshined my every invasive cry in the closet thought. I remember doing improv and having no idea where the words were coming from. I was in open channel and was receiving and being received by the coolest kids around, subjectively, theater kids. I felt like there was no other place that I should be. But as I approached high school, I felt like the earth beneath me was giving out, as the perfect little girl show I was putting on became way too heavy. And if you're thinking, what the heck was her problem? Sounds like a great life. Really no judgment, but I invite you to lean into that thought. Although I've left out some details of the causes of my mental unwellness as to not cast blame and shame, we also come from, I'll speak for myself. I have come from a snap out of it culture rather than what you feel is real, regardless of the circumstances, and let's help you get through this, right? My parents were very protective due to their upbringings, but I was craving social connection with friends during these really formative years. I mean, as a preteen, my mom lost her big brother while he was out with friends. I can only imagine how scary that was as a parent for, when her children wanted to be outside of her bubble of safety. But there was a big disconnect. My love language is words of affirmation, but I didn't need praise for my accomplishments. I needed to hear that I was loved. I needed therapy, which was certainly not normalized among my families at that point. When my pleas for a social life were not met, strong-willed as I am, I rebelled self-destructively. I eventually ran away from home for an entire summer before my sophomore year. I stayed self-medicated, mostly with alcohol and sometimes drugs. I mean, we're talking high school here. So I was a really lost child. That makes me emotional still. But I felt like I was a part of something, beyond what I perceived everyone expected from me. I was getting warmer, but I was doing it the wrong way. When I returned home from running away, there would be no more dance classes, no New York City for auditions, no piano, no taekwondo, nothing, and rightfully so. As a parent now, I only think how terrifying that must have been for my parents when I wasn't at home. If I desired a social life, I'd have to get a job to support it. And so without that constant artistic outlet that I was accustomed to, and now with this self-destructive lifestyle outside of school, I imploded. At my worst, I was 90 pounds in high school, depressed, idealizing suicide, abusing drugs, and bulimic. My bones were fragile, so much so that I had fallen from a cheerleading stunt and my patella shattered in more places than my orthopedic had ever seen. The malnutrition had also stopped me from growing, as hypothesized by my doctor, who gathered from my x-rays that my growth plates had prematurely closed. My grades dropped, although I got by enough to get into college. I still participated in the arts by being a part of the choir, taking theater arts as an elective and cheerleading as mentioned, but it was too late. Whatever that spark was that kept me in the real world of the living went dormant as the pain took over, and the self-medicating was my only way out. I was always the jokester among my friends, so no one really knew that I was suffering. What followed through college and the start of my adult life was a dance of attempting to make my parents proud of me again, while sneakily finding ways to act or dance on the side through, elective courses, improv, community theater. Something inside of me told me that's what I needed. I received a BA in anthropology, then worked for a mortgage company, then went to New York City to go to Parsons for fashion marketing in hopes of being able to audition for acting on the side, but fashion proved to be all-encompassing. I was hired by my internship and began my career in fashion. While I'm exceedingly lucky to have decided to and effectively stop the drug use, I was still heavily medicating with alcohol, struggling with bulimia, and depressed most days. But what got me even warmer again was when I started running, which began reintroducing my mind and body to each other. Running shut off my intrusive thoughts and gave me the confidence to begin to treat my body as I would someone I loved. On those long runs, I began making decisions to go for exactly what I wanted in life, as opposed to what I thought would make my family proud. I met my now partner after I had a couple of marathons under my belt. I quit my job in fashion. I got into the actor's studio for my MFA in theater. And then the deep work I began doing in those acting classes, along with starting therapy for the first time through school, was unearthing and processing the webs of darkness I had shoved into drawers and hidden into dark corners, reminiscent of how I used to clean my room as a child. I also learned to embrace and be grateful for my shadow side through acting. When I unstifled the artist within me, when I immersed myself within an artistic community, when I began working through shame and intergenerational trauma, is when my mind and body finally became best friends. I continued therapy, replaced self-medicating with yoga. I began flourishing in my career as an actor. I had 2 beautiful children, and I went into remission after 22 years of bulimia. And disclaimer, this is not a squeaky clean human in front of you. My mental health continues to be something I have to work at every day with intention, patience, and forgiveness. I've had relapses of bulimia and I still live with depression, but I now have the tools, which I know now include the need to create art and the self-worth to get back up again. And just as I've embraced my shadow side with acting, I've also learned to do so in my real life as well. An episode of Glennon Doyle's podcast had referred to those tender stages of depression as being a soft-shelled crab in hiding. I love that imagery so much. You know, every time we pull ourselves out of the protective solitude needed during those tender moments, we come back a bigger, a fiercer, hard-shelled crab. Most definitely inspired by Brene Brown's TED Talk, I also began practicing vulnerability in my interactions with others, which was very new to me, and certainly not something we did at home. I started sharing and normalizing my mental health journey with friends and family on social media, with neighbors, cashiers, the Amazon delivery person, like very literally anyone who my gut told me might need to hear my journey with mental health. So far, I'd say my track record of success with that intuition has been a strong 88% and worth every awkward TMI look I've received from that remaining 12%. So since given this platform as an actor and normalizing mental health discussion, if I help even one person to feel less alone, or even to just trust their own voice and go for their dreams, then every single step along this journey will have been worth it. So when Megan, the incredible Megan LeBou, contacted me after hearing me share, and quite honestly, probably overshare, on Jody Hope Grinwald's Today's the Day Changemakers podcast to not only share my story, but do so with my people, all of you, art creators, art facilitators, art enthusiasts, and in my home state of New Jersey. I mean, I still have goosebumps just thinking about the power of our collective connection, especially through the arts. And I just want to make, there we go. And a quick side note, I just mentioned Jody Hope Grinwald. She and her sister Melissa are also founders of Applaud Our Kids. I was hypersensitive to the financial burden it was on my family to put me through lessons. So AOK providing free arts education to financially qualifying youth throughout New Jersey means the absolute world to me. I'm honored to be on their advisory board committee. And they're holding an annual soiree on November 17th, and I really hope to see some of you there. Please introduce yourself if you're there, because I can't see your faces. So in closing, I've been infatuated with a book called The Intention Experiment by Lynn McTaggart. I will not pretend to be an expert within this world, but I'd be remiss to not mention it today, and I hope you'll agree. In trying to find a scientific explanation for homeopathy and spiritual healing, Lynn McTaggart happened upon the work of frontier scientists who were observing consciousness as existing outside of our bodies. So what this school of thought says is that we are not fixed and separate beings as explained by Newtonian science, nor are we struggling against one another as explained by Darwinism. You know, it's a little bit of all, but that subatomic particles are way messier and exciting than that. They're not fixed and contain a whole bunch of possibilities that until viewed by an observer are reduced to a certain state. So this new science suggests that we are more powerful together. Lynn McTaggart has been conducting the intention experiments with various scientists. They have been quantifying the effect of intention towards specific subjects, such as war-stricken or violent places, helping seeds to grow faster, healing medical conditions, and the results have been a success rate of 90%, which is incredible. In fact, that rate of success surpasses any pharmaceutical drug's track record, according to her findings. The interesting and almost accidental effect has been the positive impact on the participants' lives The participants being the ones sending out the intentions, ranging from simply reporting more joy to actual medical healing. As I delve deeper into learning about this work, I can't help but think about the implications of the power of the arts, both in observing and performing. I cited earlier that out-of-body feeling while performing, of receiving and being received and feeling part of something magnificent. The creating and receiving of art, which is also intention, has a calming effect on the fight or flight vagus nerve, and also allows us to connect to the greater good and connect to each other by calming that part of our brains. And now, thanks to these scientists and innovators, that spiritual connection that we feel through creating and receiving art is being quantified. As participators, creators, and facilitators of the arts, we are subscribing to that feeling we all had that first time, and hopefully many subsequent times to come, when a song, a painting, a film, a story in any form touch something in our solar plexus. We are participating in a shared intention, which made us feel connected to something we felt in our hearts, with such a huge potential to ignite positive change. We were being seen. That first time that you're hopefully recalling right now, which moved you so much that here you are, having dedicated at least a portion of your life's efforts to the arts. What I'm saying is, you're awesome. And let's keep fighting that good fight together, as the art we love, create, and receive has and will continue to heal the world. Thank you so much for your time with me today. That's all I have.
Kim, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I want to remind everyone that to use the Q&A function if you have any questions for Kim. I have one, because when you mentioned Glennon Doyle's idea of the soft shell crab, I may listen to that podcast as well. So I'm wondering, how do you balance being that kind of tender, soft-shelled type of person with the realities of being a working actor?
I will say for at least for my story, I have to take care of, I need to stay in therapy. I need to do yoga. I need to do the spiritual things for myself before I even get in a car to get to that set. Because once I'm centered with myself, then the outside things can't really affect. And they seep in, right? But I think that it's just, especially as a parent as well, I have to learn to prioritize myself and my health and my well-being in order to be okay and safe in such a demanding career. And if I've had hard times, I'm also not hard on myself. Like if something's difficult, I'm not hard on myself. I just figure out how to learn from it.
That's good advice. And I'm clearly just asking for a friend.
For a friend, yeah.
Did you have any role models growing up, either artists or just, folks in your own life?
Yes, I didn't get to mention, but my grandmother on my mom's side, actually both grandmothers were amazing. My grandmother on my mom's side, she grew up in Puerto Rico, and she was college educated, which is unheard of. That was pretty rare as it was. She was a nurse, but she was also an artist. And she was a writer. She wrote poetry and songs. And some of them were actually on the radio. And when in family gatherings, she would stand up and she would recite a poem. And they would normally be in Spanish, which I can't understand completely. But that I experienced those same feelings of getting up and performing like that connection, that spiritual connection of something bigger happening. And I always really admired her for doing that.
Great. And did you have an aha moment yourself with a specific piece of art, or just that moment where you knew I need to go all in on acting or else or bust?
Yeah, there was, I had gone through a bit of an awkward stage, I think, while dancing, and we were having a dance recital. I had kind of a tough year. I'll joke about this, but like, it was this really strange year where I would never put my hair up because I kept getting lice. It was like, it was awkward phase. I was not doing well in dancing, but I went up in the recital And everything just shut off. All the thoughts, all the things that were making me weird and not be able to perform. And there was a moment where I didn't remember, it's almost like I blacked out. I just saw the audience and I was performing and I could feel like it was the best I had ever done. And I knew that that's something I had to do for the rest of my life. Just shut it all off.
Kim, I wanted to know if you would come back for like a staff team building exercise and actually do a roast of me. I think the staff would really enjoy that.
I sure will.
I do have one question. I have one real question here. So Tanisha on our team, who I know you've met, has a question that she just posted in our little internal chat. I don't think everybody got a chance. And now I'm seeing some other ones coming in here. So Tanisha was asking, we face so many no's in the arts, no to grants, no to roles, no to tickets. How was your experience and helped you navigate those no's?
So I think when I first started auditioning, like I'm still pretty fresh because like, you know, I started later in life. But at first the constant no's were really hard. I just started to rip up my audition slides. I would physically rip up my audition slides and just thank myself for all the work that I did. And slowly they started to not matter as much. I was starting to be thankful for the opportunity and for being seen. And then the no, which I probably wouldn't hear anyway, started to matter a whole lot less. So I guess to answer that question, I've been celebrating everything as a win and as an opportunity, whether it's a yes or a no. Some no's hurt though, obviously. I am human, but I've been just trying to celebrate everything as a win, every opportunity. Oh, I can't hear you, Megan.
I should have known.
Oh, there we go.
You need to take the wins where you can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Raymond is asking, what is something or some gift that you hope is given to other artists or just folks from sharing your art?
I hope that, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't really see anyone that looked like me in the media or anything. And I certainly didn't hear the normalizing of mental health talk. So I hope that in what I'm doing, either if it's just being seen and speaking somebody else's words on TV or something, like that someone can see themselves in me, or when I'm sharing myself as a person, I hope that somewhere within my story, especially those young children, if anyone's struggling, or even as an adult, that they can see themselves within me and feel less alone. And, you know, maybe even go and seek the professional help needed, or maybe quit that job and go become an actor, or whatever it may be. I hope that they feel love for themselves, and through seeing themselves in me. That's all I could hope for.
Representation is so important.
It's so important. Yeah.
And one last question from John Keith Davis. Kim, how do you think we can make sure our art heals and doesn't harm other people?
That's a great question. It's a really great question. You know, that actually brings something to mind that I should have done, is a trigger warning. Maybe it's that, because some people are ready to hear certain stories shared, and some people aren't in that position. So I think that it's a trigger warning before what we're going to share. And also, I think that as long as just coming from a place of love should resonate. If there's any sort of like reason that that one might be performing or sharing, I don't know, for recognition, for example, I don't think that would read as genuine. But I think that like we as humans connect, like I said, through the minor chords in the music, like we connect through the pain that we recognize in others, and that makes us feel less alone. So I think that trigger warnings, and also as long as we're just sharing from a genuine place of love. And I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I feel.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and we're all learning right as we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Kim, thank you so much for sharing so much of your personal story and being so vulnerable with us as artists. I think a lot of people are drawn to the arts because it helps us work through all the big, scary emotions that are, that you can't really experience in real life. So thank you for being so vulnerable.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now on to the Art Pride update part of the show. So much of the impact we've had is because of Art Pride's tireless advocacy work, which is led by Anne Marie Miller, our Director of Advocacy and Public Policy. She is a woman that probably doesn't need an introduction to this crowd. So I will just go and hand things over to you, Anne Marie. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Boy, that is a tough act to follow. Thank you so much, Kim. It was so personal and revealing. I really appreciated all of it. I'm a white older woman with short graying hair and glasses, wearing a black blouse and a black and white scarf. Decided to dress up today for this webinar against a blurred background. I use she, her, hers pronouns and am in what is sometimes referred as mythical Central Jersey, that is also the home of the Lenni Lenape tribe. So first things first, doing what Rescue Poetics noted in her first poem, Replacing Doubt with Action, Art Pride has worked for nearly a year on legislation that assures arts and culture organizations throughout New Jersey will benefit from American Rescue Plan funds. The bill doesn't have a sexy title yet. It's S-2800 A4233. It has 9 New Jersey Senate sponsors and 11 New Jersey Assembly sponsors, but we need more for this bill to move forward. And its purpose will deliver $70 million to our sector that continues to struggle in recovery from the lasting effects of the pandemic. I'm not sure what slide is being shown right now, but we have already successfully advocated for over $160 million over the past 2 years in pandemic relief. If you've not yet reached out to your district legislators, your support is needed now before budget negotiations begin for fiscal year 24, and that's going to happen in December. So do not wait. If you have completed the first step of sending it an email through the Art Pride website, it's now time to apply some additional pressure by asking them for their sponsorship and making a phone call or a visit. This is a top priority and we need your help. Talking points are available on the Act Now page of Art Pride's website. For each election cycle, Art Pride surveys incumbent legislators and challengers to learn about their views on arts issues and to inform voters about each candidate's positions on the arts. We learn a little bit about their involvement, their family involvement, whether they donate to the arts, and how they feel about funding, arts education, other policy issues. Results of these surveys are available in the resources section of the Art Pride website. I urge you to visit artpridenj.org to see how this year New Jersey's congressional candidates responded to the survey. We continue to serve the field with regular webinars like these that offer information on funding, recovery, and other resources to help artists and arts organizations succeed in this challenging environment. And I think up to date, we're probably at like 35, if not more, webinars over the past couple of years. Art Pride works all year round to ensure support on the federal level for the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and more. At both county and municipal levels, Art Pride works with local leaders in support of funding and strategies that embrace art in communities. Interest continues to build as Art Pride and our partners develop the New Jersey Mayor's Committee for Arts and Culture. And we will be in about 10 days at the New Jersey League of Municipalities Conference, the only arts exhibitors there to talk about how the arts make a difference in our communities. It is now time to update the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study that was last conducted over 5 years ago. Art Pride is working with 12 local partners to survey cultural organizations and people who attend cultural events. I'm happy to see some of our local partners here from Essex and Morris County, and I may have missed, and I think Middlesex County as well. If you attend a performance or view an exhibit and someone asks you to take the survey, please take it. The last statewide study really helped. It was key to educating legislators about the economic value of the arts, and I believe, in my opinion, that it led to the increased annual state appropriations that we enjoy today. Lastly, nothing could be more important than voting next Tuesday. Remember that your vote counts and that your vote makes a difference. From local elections, including school board, to congressional elections, it's important to know where your candidates stand on the arts and other issues. Arts Vote New Jersey, located also on our website, is a one-sheet information guide that tells you all you need to know about voting, mail-in, in-person voting, and it will direct you to the New Jersey Elections Bureau if you need more information. So I am now pleased to introduce brief welcoming remarks by Senator Cory Booker, who is a steadfast arts advocate. If you ever peek into his Instagram account for inspiration, he gave us some inspiration here as well. We're really fortunate to have his leadership, his wisdom, and his grace representing us in Congress.
Hey, this is Cory Booker. Thank you, Art Pride New Jersey, for inviting me to say a few words. I just want you all to know that our arts in New Jersey is not an extra special add-on. It is essential to our state's success, from our state's economy to the education of our children, to the cultural links that hold us together as a community. Art is a vital part of our state's true success. You all understand that. You work towards that end. You make sure that we are a state that focuses on those unifying, inspiring, and sustaining aspects of our culture that make sure that our futures are even more bright than Jersey's incredible past. Thank you for the work you do. And I look forward to seeing you soon in some of our great art institutions in our state.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for that update, and thank you, Cory Booker, for that beautiful message. My name is Vince Hall. I'm a young Black man with black hair and a beard. I'm wearing a checked shirt and joining you from Philadelphia, PA, the ancestral lands of the Lenni Lenape people. My pronouns are he, him, his. Today, I want to talk about our EDI-SJ action plan. So ArtPride is committed to being an anti-racist organization that uses the power of arts as a means of healing and justice. Organizationally, we're moving from practice to policy. 2 years ago, we created the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, Social Justice Strategy Action Plan. And over the past year, we have gone through some of the steps of making those actionable. Some of the tangible highlights are our staff, group development and pay equity. For our board, we've organized a task force, and we continue to support the New Jersey Arts and Culture Administrators of Color Network. As for our independent advisory committee, a few brief things. ArtPride launched the Independent Advisory Committee to elevate the voices of underrepresented and marginalized artists and arts organizations among ArtPride's members, partners, and individuals. Over the past few months, the committee and ArtPride have established relationships between organization and committee members to ensure accountability, trust, and honesty. to educate our committee members on ArtPride's history, the structure, and its operations, and to encourage the members to engage with ArtPride through our events, professional developments, and other committees. And we will continue to discuss how the IAC can be effective in our future strategic planning and how we can continue to work towards our initial goals of advocating for the members' needs and for the art community as a whole. And I just wanted to highlight some of the roundtables that are going on for creating change. The dates are on the screen, both for 10 a.m. And I wanted to kick it off to Jim for our programs and services.
Thanks, Vince, and good morning. I'm Jim Atkinson, a middle-aged white man with black hair, blue eyes, wearing black glasses, and a dark gray checkered shirt. Joining you today from Haddon Township in South Jersey, the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape people. My pronouns are he, him, and his. As New Jersey's largest arts service organization, we are committed to supporting the field by helping to build and expand arts audiences while providing high quality, low cost professional development opportunities. In June, we hosted nearly 250 arts leaders from across the state at the Lewis Arts Complex at Princeton University for the 10th anniversary of the Thrive Arts Conference. Highlighted by our keynote speaker, actress, comedian, writer, and disability advocate Maysoon Zaid, Thrive featured more than a dozen speakers on sessions ranging from design thinking to equity-centered programming, from the power of social media influencers to innovations in virtual programming, from TerraCycle's creative residency program to the impact of evolving digital platforms on reaching new audiences. It was a full day of sharing, learning, and networking for what was for many the first in-person large-scale gathering of the field since the lockdown. And we're already looking forward to the next biannual conference in the summer of 2024. Could move to the next slide, please. Thanks. For more than 20 years, ArtPride has been managing the Discover Jersey Arts program, originally co-founded in partnership with the New Jersey State Council on the Arts. So DJA was created to increase the awareness of and participation in the arts across New Jersey. But a program like this doesn't exist for this long without evolving. And Discover Jersey Arts is in the midst of an exciting evolution we've been planning for several years, some of which was postponed due to COVID, but we're actively working back on the new version of producing the jerseyarts.com site with refreshed content objectives that will shift greater focus to the site's editorial feature content. We'll be reinstating its popular event discount opportunities and expanding on its destination marketing content by combining cultural assets with dining, hotel stay, and shopping in highlighted towns across the state. To communicate this exciting new direction to the public, we're also working on a fresh new design of the Discover Jersey Arts brand logo, which will debut with the launch of the new site next year. In the meantime, we are continuing to publish the original feature stories, video packages and podcasts, that will be the main focus of the new site. Produced by our talented team of freelance contributors under the direction of C. Stroud, ArtPride's digital content manager, this content is available on the current jerseyarts.com site, as well as YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you choose to subscribe. We are also actively curating and promoting events around seasonal themes throughout the year under the DJA brand. The upcoming Winter Holidays campaign launches on November 10 and runs through January 3rd, focusing on a variety of Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Eve events, along with gift card purchasing options that will be promoted on jerseyarts.com, as well as through a social media and digital ad campaign. For details on how your organization can be included in our seasonal messaging campaigns or these editorial features, you can visit artpridej.org/jersey-arts-content. I'm wondering if we could drop that URL into the chat. That'd be great. One of our cornerstone audience development programs is the Audience Insights Manager, which is a cooperative patron database that collects audience data from participating arts organizations, then runs that data across other third-party databases to provide detailed demographic and psychographic information on patrons that would otherwise either be cost prohibitive or literally impossible for groups to access. ArtPride partners with TRG Arts, a large arts consultancy firm based in Colorado, that administers similar community networks across the country to manage this data in their secure online data center platform. The organizations use this valuable information to better target existing patrons to meet marketing and fundraising goals, measure their EDI objectives, and even analyze their programming. They can choose to participate in optional list trading with other groups in the AIM network to reach new audiences, because if there's one thing that we've learned over the years, it's that the more people attend the arts, the more they will attend the arts in the future. In 2022, AIM housed data on nearly 1.5 million unique households of qualified cultural consumers, and we're looking forward to growing that in 2023 as the subscription window for next year opens in mid-November and runs through mid-January. And for details on that, you can visit artpridenj.org/AIM. We work closely with the field on the development of these and other programs and services, including through the very active Jersey Arts Marketers Network. JAM, as it's affectionately known, will be hosting its next webinar on Wednesday, November 9th at 10 a.m. with a presentation by Samantha Bryant of Mogo Arts, and that will be on Google Analytics 4. And you can register for free for this and other webinars and other activities that ArtPride's doing at artpridenj.org/events. As always, ArtPride is here to serve its hundreds of member organizations, and I'm happy to hand things back off to Megan LeBeau.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Programs and services is a great segue into organizational membership, because those are linked to ArtPride membership as well. Many of you know there are a number of benefits to ArtPride membership, including inclusion in the jerseyarts.com campaigns and on jerseyarts.com. Discounts on services like the Audience Insights Manager, AIM, is another member benefit. Members can also post job opportunities in the ArtPride Job Bank. I should also say you can also post volunteer opportunities. So I know we have a number of organizations that are completely volunteer run, so you can post those in the Job Bank as well. And Jim mentioned Thrive. Discounts to things like Thrive and other professional development opportunities are also benefits of membership. Organization membership is our biggest source of unrestricted funding. So I should say organizational dues allow ArtPride to advocate for the field. We've been able to suspend dues billing without canceling anyone's membership since the beginning of March 2020. We resumed billing last year for those who could pay, but we're about to bill you guys again in earnest. Thank you so much to the organizations that have been able to pay. I'd also like to welcome a number of new organizations. We've added more than just about 100 organizations to our membership roster. That brings us to about 298 organizations. You can kind of see them plotted out on the map. We're always adding new members because of an introductory trial membership that we've been offering that welcomes organizations for free. So you can get a sense of who ArtPride is, what we do, and get a sense if membership is right for you. We are going to, as I said, open membership renewal. It's coming up in late January. I will say that we've been trying to get as many organizations as possible on a calendar year membership, so it's easier to remember. All you need to know is, did I pay January 2023 for my 2023 dues? Cool. That won't apply to all organizations, especially our friends and members at universities and county cultural organizations. We won't mess with the purchase order process or any of that kind of fun bureaucracy you folks have to deal with. I will also say, well, you don't really need me to tell you that there have been a lot of changes for our members, especially staff changes. So in anticipation of this renewal, we will be reaching out to confirm your current staff information. So I will ask you to keep an eye on your inbox. We will be sending out emails with a simple online form that you can complete and keep us up to date on who is currently at your organization. There have been, well, a lot of changes to the field and to our teams. As I said, we have nearly 300 member organizations, partners, and businesses. Some of you will be billed for the first time because you've been on this introductory trial membership. So if you have any questions or concerns, and this goes for everyone, existing members, new members, potential members, you can email membership@artpridenj.org or email me. My information is in the chat. I do hope that ArtPride's work merits renewal. And again, we're grateful to those of you that can pay and that have paid despite the deferral. There's so many nonprofit groups in the meeting right now, and unrestricted funding is what we're all searching for. But I just want to reiterate that that's what we use to advocate for you all. So. And I should also say I would not be a good development manager if I didn't plug our other source of unrestricted funding for advocacy. Giving season is right around the corner. We'll be launching ArtPride's annual appeal in December. We always appreciate, we truly appreciate whatever you can give. I know there's a lot of strain on our wallets and our time, especially lately, but including ArtPride in your holiday giving allows us to uplift our community and directly affects the kind of impact we can have. So speaking of impact, you're going to start seeing artwork soon for our upcoming impact statement. You've seen some kind of snippets throughout the slides today. So I'm going to hand it over to Tanisha Ford, our marketing and communications manager, to talk about the impact statement. Tanisha, thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Hello, all. I am Tanisha Ford, and I am an African-American cisgendered woman with curly natural hair, cat frame glasses, and a rust color sweater. I respond to whatever you wish to call me, so long as it's done respectfully. In the coming weeks, ArtPride will be releasing an impact statement covering our work over the past 2+ years. In celebration of our organization's success, we've commissioned Kelly Prevard from Atlantic City to create a work of art that embodies the resiliency and the diversity of New Jersey arts. She creates thought-provoking pieces influenced by social, historical, and cultural events. Through her artwork, Kelly says that she, quote, attempts to bridge the gap to humanize the dehumanized so that we can connect to people on an emotional level, close quote. Her murals can be seen in Atlantic City, Newark, and Pleasantville, New Jersey. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for working with ArtPride to create this beautiful and inspirational work of art. And I will hand it over to Adam Pearl.
Thanks, Tanisha. Appreciate you. It has really been a pleasure to work with Kelly and the team, and you're going to be seeing the artwork again and a lot over the next year as we share ArtPride's impact. And now I'd like to bring back our esteemed board chair, Allison Lorena, to join me for these last few sections of the meeting.
Thank you, Adam. And I'd like to take a moment to recognize my colleagues on the board, many of whom are joining us today. Thank you so much for your dedication and hard work. This year, we had a few trustees retire from the board. We'd like to take a moment to recognize the services of Deborah Bosarth, Susan Cohen, and Jean Holtz. Thank you so much for your hard work. In addition, we brought on new trustees, Cliff Matthias, who joined us earlier in the program, as well as Sarah Scully, Executive Director of the Hopewell Theater, and anti-racist facilitator and creative producer, Kayla Kim Votapek. Welcome aboard. ArtPride's board continues to grow and change. At the end of this fiscal year, several longstanding trustees are scheduled to rotate off. ArtPride's governance committee, which oversees the board cultivation and nomination process, is seeking your suggestions for trustees. We've created a page on our website that has more information about board service and responsibilities and a form where you can submit suggestions directly to the committee. We'll make sure to include a link to that page on our follow-up email.
And of course, we'd like to thank the incomparable ArtPride staff. I think we've mentioned almost all of them along the way here, but I want to thank them again. Megan LeBou, who our membership and development manager, who spearheaded this entire event. Thank you, Megan. It has been terrific. And you see all these wonderful faces there, but they're worth saying their names out loud because they work very, very hard for you every day. Anne-Marie Miller, our Director of Advocacy and Public Policy, Jim Atkinson, our Director of Programs and Services, Vincent Hall, our Advocacy and Community Engagement Manager, Tanisha Ford, our Marketing and Communications Manager, and C. Stroud, our Digital Content Manager. And C is the one who's been dropping all the links in the chats for you all along. So thank you to all of them. They work incredibly hard. They care deeply about what they do, and it is kind of amazing what they're able to pull off. So as we continue with these thank yous, we're only as strong as our collaborations and ArtPride's success in the past few years, and any future achievements we have are the result of the hard work of many of the folks joining us today. And while we're thanking partners, we want to express our gratitude to our organizational funders who are listed on screen: the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, the Grunin Foundation, New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism, FM Kirby Foundation, the New Jersey Arts and Cultural Renewal Fund at Princeton Area Community Foundation, and the Hyde and Watson Foundation. Thank you for their continued partnership, their incredible support, which is absolutely crucial and ensures that ArtPride has the resources needed to serve its members and New Jersey's cultural community.
And thank you, Adam, for your leadership, and the amazing ArtPride team as well for your hard work. And thank you everyone here this morning. Before you go, please, I'd like to take a moment to provide an immediate call to action. Vote. We've said it several times on the call today. Election Day is 1 week from today, and this year is very important to our state. And whether you vote by mail, vote early, or vote in person on Election Day, just vote. And please don't forget to contact your representatives about S2800.
Yes, absolutely. Vote. Please vote. We're going to close the meeting with a performance, but I want to thank you all again for joining us today and for supporting ArtPride. We'll follow up with resources and links, like we mentioned here today. And it's just a reminder to register for our next event, the JAB webinar, next week on November 9th. So our plan, best laid plan was to have a closing performance from the AOK Performance Group, part of the Zach G. Applaud Our Kids Foundation. Kim mentioned the foundation earlier. It works to fund aspiring artists and connects them to instruction in acting, dance, voice, and instrumental music. And by connecting students to teaching artists across the state, the foundation gives children and teens the opportunity to find their own voice and provide them with positive reinforcement through the performing arts. AOK Performance Group is an audition-only volunteer group that performs in the community to raise awareness and share the importance of creative connection. So we had intended to share a video with you live right now today, but we were having some technical difficulties earlier. And truthfully, the quality of the video, if we played it here, just through Zoom, it just doesn't do justice to these young artists. So we're not going to play it now because it wouldn't be the experience that they so deserve. So we're going to include a link to the closing performance in our follow-up email to all the attendees, and we encourage you to click on that and to immerse yourself in a bit of arts education. And with that, I will say thank you. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. It looks like most of the folks were able to stick around for the duration of this. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank Kim and Cliff and Susan and AOK for being part of today. We so appreciate the entire ArtPride family across the state. Thank you for joining us. Stay well and have a great rest of your day.